Every time you click Buy Now, a chaotic ballet of logistics violently springs into action. Cardboard boxes are folded, scanners scream in massive warehouses, and fleets of vans burn fuel to bring a phone case to your doorstep. It is an operational miracle, but it is also a financial illusion. You probably think this is how Amazon makes its money. You think the empire Jeff Bezos built is fundamentally a retailer, dominating the globe one box at a time. The truth is, the delivery business, the Prime subscriptions, the grocery aisles, all of it is practically a side hustle. For much of its history, the retail side actually lost money. The real engine, the secret vault funding the entire empire, is an invisible $90 billion cash cow that you interact with every single day, unaware. Instead, it literally owns the internet. If this secret machine shut down tomorrow, the modern world would go dark. Streaming services would crash, banks would freeze, and governments would be blind. This is the story of how an online bookstore built the most powerful monopoly of the 21st century, disguised as a delivery company. To understand the scale of this deception, we have to look at the numbers they do not want you thinking about. When you look at Amazon's revenue, the top line is staggering, hundreds of billions rolling in from retail sales. But revenue is vanity, and profit is sanity. The profit margins on retail are notoriously razor thin. By the time Amazon pays for warehouses, robots, delivery drivers, and cargo planes, there are pennies left on the dollar. So how did Amazon become a multi-trillion-dollar juggernaut? The answer lies in a subsidiary called Amazon Web Services, or AWS. While the retail division generated massive revenue with microscopic profits, AWS operates with jaw-dropping, software-like profit margins. In recent years, AWS generated over $90 billion in revenue. But more importantly, it routinely accounts for 60 to 70% of Amazon's total operating profit. The overwhelming majority of the profit for the largest retailer on earth has nothing to do with retail. The origin of this shadow empire is a fascinating accident of corporate history. Rewind to the early 2000s. Amazon was surviving the aftermath of the dot-com crash, desperately trying to scale its operations. They faced a massive technical crisis. Every time they tried to launch a new feature for the website, their engineers spent months just building the basic database and computing infrastructure. Furthermore, Amazon faced a brutal seasonal reality. To keep the site from crashing, Amazon had to buy mountains of expensive servers. But for the other 10 months of the year, those servers sat completely idle in dark rooms, collecting dust and burning money. Enter Andy Jassy, a relatively young executive who shadowed Jeff Bezos. Jassy and the leadership team realized that Amazon had become exceptionally good at managing large-scale back-end infrastructure just to survive their own growth. It was a light bulb moment that changed the trajectory of the internet. If Amazon's own developers desperately needed this streamlined, scalable infrastructure, wouldn't every other company in the world need it too? What if, instead of just selling books, Amazon started renting out their excess computing power and digital storage space? In 2006, they quietly launched Amazon Web Services. The pitch to developers was revolutionary. You no longer needed to spend millions up front buying physical servers, renting warehouse space, and hiring an army of IT professionals. Instead, you could just rent space on Amazon servers, paying only for exactly what you used, by the hour, just like you pay for electricity. When AWS launched, the traditional tech giants completely missed the threat. Microsoft, IBM, and Oracle largely ignored this weird side project from a book-selling company. They simply could not fathom that the future of enterprise computing would be outsourced to the company that just shipped them the new Harry Potter novel. This massive blind spot gave Amazon a half-decade head start to build a lead that nobody has been able to catch since. Startups flocked to AWS because it lowered the barrier to entry to almost zero. Companies like Airbnb, Uber, and Netflix built their entire businesses on top of Amazon's secret infrastructure. Wait, Netflix? Yes. Amazon's fiercest rival in the streaming wars, pays Amazon hundreds of millions of dollars to host their movies and TV shows. But it is not just agile startups. As AWS proved its reliability, the biggest organizations on the planet moved their operations into Amazon's cloud. We are talking about massive multinational banks and pharmaceutical companies. The CIA signed a highly classified contract with AWS to build a secure cloud environment for the intelligence community. When spies share top-secret data, they use the infrastructure built by the same company that sells you discount toilet paper. The brilliance of AWS is in its sticky, ecosystem-driven business model. Once a company moves its data and applications into the AWS cloud, migrating out becomes an impossibly complex and expensive headache. They are locked in, paying monthly subscription fees that grow larger every year as their data expands. It is the ultimate toll booth on the information superhighway. Every time a company processes a credit card, runs an artificial intelligence algorithm, or stores a customer record, a fraction of a cent is deposited into Jeff Bezos' bank account. Multiply those fractions of a cent by millions of businesses running billions of operations every second, and you arrive at a $90 billion cash machine. This immense profitability completely reshapes how we must view Amazon's broader corporate strategy. AWS is the financial shield that allows Amazon to behave in ways that defy traditional economic logic. How can Amazon afford to offer free overnight shipping, losing billions on logistics? Because AWS pays for it. How can they relentlessly undercut competitors on price, starving them of oxygen until they go bankrupt? AWS provides an endless stream of cash that makes Amazon effectively bulletproof in a price war. They do not need to make money on the retail side because retail is essentially a giant customer acquisition tool. The retail store is the smiling face and the relatable brand, but the core of the business, the beating heart of the valuation, is a cold, calculated, highly profitable utility grid for the digital age. Understanding AWS changes the entire narrative of corporate power. We spent the last decade debating the monopolistic power of tech giants, usually focusing on social media algorithms or search dominance. But Amazon has quietly cornered a market that is arguably much more fundamental. They cornered the market on the foundational layer of the internet itself. They transformed themselves from a participant in the digital economy to the actual infrastructure on which the digital economy operates. So the next time you see a Prime delivery van idling at an intersection, do not look at it as the symbol of Amazon's success. Look at it as a distraction. The real empire is invisible, pulsing through fiber optic cables, humming in massive server farms, and quietly collecting billions of dollars from the global economy. It is the ultimate proof that the most lucrative corporate secrets are almost always hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to look past the cardboard boxes.